As you know by now, an important part of your job as an instructor is to observe and assess your students' performance, and then intervene to improve their performance.
The ability to see and hold a mental picture of what is being done at any given moment is critical. This is known as having a photographic eye. A photographic eye refers to the ability to stop the action of a skill in mind, such as part of an arm stroke, and hold it long enough to compare it to performance criteria.
It takes practice and time to develop this skill, but it can make a big difference in helping your students move on to the next level.
So let's begin developing your observation and assessment skills by taking a look at a few swimmers and evaluate their current skill levels.
This swimmer is performing the back crawl. Observe his stroke, then make assessments about his body position, arm and leg action, and breathing and timing. Okay, so Tanya, what did you observe about the swimmer?
Chris, the first thing I observed was his body position. He is relatively horizontal to the surface of the water, but he needs to work on rolling his body. Then I observed his arm and leg actions. His arms are straight at the elbow during the recovery, and his hands enter above his head. However, he keeps his elbows straight during the power phase. In addition, he uses a bicycle kicking motion to move through the water. Finally, I observed his breathing and timing. He appears relaxed in the water, but his arms are not in opposition. In other words, he strokes with one arm, hesitates, and then strokes with the other. Now let's take a look at another swimmer. Again, make sure you take the time to observe the swimmer's body position, arm and leg action, and breathing and timing. Now it's your turn, Chris. What did you observe?
Well, the first thing I noticed, Tanya, is she's obviously very comfortable on her back. However, she tucks her chin and bends at the hips while her legs are recovering, which causes her face to submerge and her body to lose its streamlined position. Her arm stroke begins above the shoulder and ends at the hip. Also, her hands continually break the surface of the water. As far as her kick is concerned, her legs are making a circular motion, but her knees are wider than her hips on the recovery, and they continually break the surface of the water. Finally, she doesn't take time to glide between each stroke. Now let's take a look at one more swimmer. He's going to be performing the front crawl. Okay, Tanya, this time why don't we both share our observations about the swimmer?
That's a great idea, Chris. Again, the first thing I always observe is a swimmer's body position. His body is pretty horizontal in the water, but his head and shoulders are moving from side to side.
Well, Tanya, I notice his hands enter the water above his head and his elbows are bent during the recovery and during the power phase. However, he does need to work on kicking in a continuous motion. Finally, he occasionally lifts his head to breathe to the front.
What did you observe?